If you've spent any amount of time watching natural survivor stories on YouTube, you've probably heard of Bailey O'Brien. She's a stage 4 melanoma survivor. She's got all the trappings of the natural survivor. She's got a health coaching business with a nice website. She's featured on The Truth About Cancer's YouTube channel. And the crown jewel, of course, the pièce de résistance, she has an interview with Chris Walk of Chris Beat Cancer.
Oh my god, I'm so starstruck.
I didn't notice at all.
So if you want to hear her tell her own story, I'd encourage you to watch one of the many interviews she's filmed. But if you'd allow me to summarise, the bare bones of it goes something like this. She was diagnosed with melanoma age 17 and she had some initial success with surgery, chemo and radiation, but despite the best efforts of her oncologists, the cancer eventually spread to her neck, lung and spine. And she received this stage 4 diagnosis after a CT scan in her senior year at college. And what happens at this specific point in time is really key to this story. To hear Bailey tell it to Chris Walk, after the scan showed the tumours in her neck, lung and spine, she was done. Conventional medicine had nothing left for her, and so she went to Mexico to pursue alternative methods, and then she was cured by them. She said the same thing on this advert she filmed for a scam clinic in Mexico, and she said the same thing when she spoke at the Believe Big conference. Actually, let's just watch her say it.
And a scan revealed 7 tumors in total in my neck, my lung, and my spine. Being diagnosed with stage 4 melanoma left me with no viable options. Conventional medicine had nothing left for me, and I began a quest for a cure that no one thought existed.
Did you hear that? Conventional medicine had nothing left for me. So here's where the problem lies. Bailey is lying by omission, because at that key point in time, where she said there was nothing left for her, she actually started on chemotherapy. She took the drug Temodar or Temozolomide. Here she is essentially confessing to this lie in 2018.
And something that I've been seeing a lot, or at least recognizing it more and understanding better lately, is that sometimes stories, like mine even, will be presented as a natural healing story. And
Okay, so I think we can all hear where this was going, but Bailey lost her train of thought and starts talking about something else. So let's fast forward to where she picks this up again.
because including stories like mine, which I just began to appreciate, I did do one round of chemotherapy pills called Temodar when I first got my stage 4 diagnosis, before I changed my diet and before I went to Mexico. And I was also taking another supplement, but my tumor under my chin did begin to shrink before I went to Mexico and did the alternative therapies.
I did do one round of chemotherapy pills called Temodar. My tumor under my chin did begin to shrink before I went to Mexico and did the alternative therapy.
Now, I certainly don't think that 5 pills of chemotherapy would have reversed my cancer the way that it did, and my oncologist at Sloan Kettering did not believe that either, but maybe it had a role.
So there you have it. Despite saying in front of a packed house at a cancer conference and in multiple interviews and articles that conventional medicine had nothing left for her, Bailey was in fact on a course of chemo that was shrinking her tumour before she even went to Mexico. Now, I don't really trust Bailey to accurately convey what she was told by her oncologist, but is it possible that a short course of temozolomide may have cured her cancer? Well, there are certainly case reports of late-stage melanoma patients who had a complete response to this drug. Here's one as an example. A patient with multiple inoperable melanoma brain metastases was treated with 6 cycles of oral temozolomide. A complete response was documented by magnetic resonance. Conclusions: the present observation suggests that temozolomide may be an active and well-tolerated treatment for malignant melanoma brain metastases. And the science behind the treatment of late-stage melanoma with temozolomide is not only supported by case reports like this one, but also by long-term observational studies, randomized clinical trials, systematic reviews, an understanding of the mechanism, and years of experience with similar drugs. That's not to say that temozolomide will routinely cure stage 4 melanoma. It won't. For most people, stage 4 melanoma will be a terminal illness. But the fact that her tumour was shrinking after just one cycle would suggest her specific disease was highly responsive to it. Now, for those who were in any doubt, later on in this clip, Bailey actually states quite clearly that she's not been sharing this part of her story.
And before thinking more about the potential benefit of conventional therapies more recently, I used to kind of shy away from sharing that part about my story.
So why did I make this video? Because it's another example of how bad these natural healing stories are. Bailey O'Brien is not a natural survivor. In fact, the title of the video where she made these comments is "How Natural Are Natural Healing Stories?" What a brilliantly insightful question. Now, does my video prove that Bailey was cured by chemo? No. The evidence for the use of temozolomide for the treatment of melanoma is in the scientific literature. Does my video prove that natural treatments do or don't work? No, and I keep having to explain this. The whole point of my videos about specific natural survivors is to make people think twice before they rely on these influencers to guide their own treatment. And some of you might think I'm being harsh on Bailey here. After all, it does seem like she's starting to essentially come clean, and she actually gave what I consider to be an almost brave interview on The Truth About Cancer a couple of years ago, sort of advocating for the use of conventional therapies. But look, she's still playing cancer coach. She's charging people over $100 an hour for her ill-informed advice. And if you go on the What I Did section of her website, you'll find references to apples and almond butter, cabbage and coffee enemas, but what you will not see anywhere on this page is temozolomide. And if you scroll down her page, you'll see marketing links to Chris Walk's Square One scam and various other kickback schemes. So she is complicit in draining cancer patients of their money on the back of her fake story. And that's the end of this video. If you found it interesting or useful, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. I'm getting closer to 1,000 subscribers now, and that's a milestone I'm really excited to achieve. So I'd appreciate your support if you watch to the end.